If Google didn't see it, hear it, or know about it, then it never happened. The sole purpose of your website should be to be the absolute best answer to all of the questions that are being asked on Google at this very moment. Tool number one is going to be answer the public. How are you supposed to be the best answer to Google when you don't even know what questions are being asked on Google? So you're going to go to answerthepublic.com. I typed in roofing, and the search volume is huge. Search difficulty is 77. That's pretty high out of 100. Cost per click, $17.90 per click. That's expensive. When you think about how much it costs to throw money at trying to get traffic, this number will tell you. Because keep in mind, this is cost per click. This is not conversion. So this website's going to help you and guide you on what to talk about when it comes to articles or even the content on your website. Tool number two, Google Search Console. What you say, even in conversations with people, your intended meaning is not always how it's received and interpreted correctly. The Google Search Console is a tool that allows you to peek into what Google is thinking, what the AI, and how that AI interprets your website. Google might not always interpret it exactly the same way that you intend it to be. An example could be spelling. I've done testing where gooseneck is in the industry is put together, but when certain people were looking for it, they were splitting it up, and I made that adjustment temporarily on the website, and sure enough, within the following week, I was making sales for gooseneck vent. So that's just one example. Another example that you can use the Google Search Console is by getting relevant and terms as well as negative search terms. Let's say you're running an ad for, let's say, nails, and you figure out that that ad is being triggered when people are typing in fashion nails. Well, if that ad is being triggered, what if that person actually clicks and now wastes your $17.90? So you're going to use Google Search Console to not only get relevant search terms, but also search terms that you need to have as negative so that, let's say, your ads don't trigger. So let's say we go to bullet boot right here. Somebody typed in bullet boot, and this is what happened. The ranking, it's going to tell you how high up in the rankings in the search engine search results page you are. And these are going to be the pages on your website that are ranking for that search term. And the third tool you're going to use is going to be Google Analytics. Google Analytics, you're going to log on and see your progress within that app, and it's going to give you real-time analytics. Right now, as you can see who is on your website at that very moment, what pages are being viewed. Let's say this person here is from Salem, this person here is in Oklahoma City, and this person here is in Clayton, North Carolina. These are the pages. This is how long they've been on the website. This person's been on there for 21 minutes. This person's been on here for 27 minutes. Also counts the user engagements. Once the clock starts and they go to your website, Google is going to give you a higher authority relative to other websites if those people on your website are engaging with your website. How are they interacting with your website? Are they scrolling all the way down? Are they clicking on certain call to actions? Are they expanding certain content that isn't readily visible on your website? So you're making it almost like a game. The session start, the view item, the first visit. There's even, well, I guess, no, there's not anymore. But yeah, so these three tools together are going to give you a leg up, because a lot of the other roofing companies don't really know how to use this. There's other tools available out there, SEMrush and Ahrefs. There's tons of tools. Sometimes I think that those tools provide so much information that it's almost overwhelming. You don't necessarily need all that data to make decisions or to make informed decisions. Pro tip: when you create a new page on your website, whether it be a blog post, a product page, a new service, a location page, any new pages on your website, you need to resubmit your sitemap. And also you need to force a crawl to that page immediately. And this is how you're going to do it. To enter your sitemap, you're going to go to sitemaps and you're going to resubmit it right here. You're going to force Google to crawl that page. You're going to go here. See, it's not on Google. So remember, as soon as you create a new page, add a new location, a new service area, anything, force Google to crawl your web page because it won't do it automatically. Now it's available on Google, and let's request indexing. So this will also let your webmasters know, hey, is it even in there? Why isn't it crawlable? Hey, this is an important page for you. You never know what kind of mistakes can happen. So this is a way to stay on top of it. You can't always trust your webmasters or the marketing team that you're paying for this service to be on top of it, because they have other accounts and nobody's going to care more about your website and the content on your website than you. So stay on top of it. This is your responsibility, even though you outsource it. Please make sure that your sitemap is easily readable by Google, because without that sitemap, Google doesn't even know how your website is organized or how many pages there are. Another thing is the robot.txt. You can have a great sitemap, you can have a great website, but if you're blocking the Google spiders from crawling your website, that's going to be a big deal. Make sure that it's formatted correctly. Here's the robot.txt file. I just make it simple. I say, Google, index. You have permission to index all the pages that you discover. And that's what I have. I have disallow, nothing. Nothing's there. And the user agent, I'm allowing all of them to be all the pages on the website. Great, so you've identified a topic that you want to talk about, something that you want to add to your website, product, area, whatever it is. Keep in mind, SEO is just a fancy term for being the answer to the questions that are being asked on Google, and you want to be the absolute best answer. And to be the best answer, you have to be the most specific answer. Vagueness is for idiots. Specificity is for winners. You're competing against AI-generated content. So how are you going to win? By being specific. AI-generated content, meaning things like ChatGPT, artificial intelligence-generated content, is vague. It might be good, but when you're more specific, in Google's eyes, you're going to have a higher authority. So be specific. What do I mean by that? Here's some ideas. The term roof damage, right? It's in many roof companies' websites. Don't use roof damage when you can use wind damage on your roof insurance claim. Just maybe it's wind damage or something. So don't use roof repair. Why don't you talk about roof pipe boot repairs? Why don't you talk about roof leaks around the cricket of the chimney? You see how you've got different components of the roof and you're putting them all in one sentence. So you're liberally sprinkling different search terms that wouldn't otherwise be together. You're putting them together in sentences and being more descriptive, more detailed, and therefore in Google's eyes, more authoritative. Don't just say roof claim. So we help you with underpaid roof claims, or you get the point, but just be very specific. So you're combining components of the roof, things that are related to roofing with damage, but you're also adding hail. Be more descriptive. Take the roof inspection of the biggest house that you've done, or maybe something that's recent. Write an article about the details of that roof inspection. By you going over and discussing it and finding ways in which to communicate how you did that roof inspection, it's going to provide a bunch of content, written content, that now Google's going to be able to crawl and index, and it's going to have so much relevance. It's going to talk about the roof components. It's going to talk about brands of products, because maybe you're going to talk about a bullet boot, and then you're going to combine that with an IPS snap cap vent. You're going to combine that with GAF shingles, timberline. Maybe you're going to talk about solar. And by you discussing and having an excuse to talk about these unique components all together under one article, that is a gold mine, tons of gold nuggets for Google. Imagine Google is like this toddler that just consumes information. The more you feed it, the more it's going to learn about your website. On-page SEO, section number 3 here on this conversation. Create your web pages so that it's almost like you're gamifying them, okay? It's like you're triggering dopamine to the user as they're navigating your website or your web page. Here, I'm gonna unclutter the website by putting under an accordion. See how it expands? I mean, do you really care about the compatibility of the nails to the gun? Yeah, you care about it, but you also want to be able to navigate quickly in order to see what's going on. If this is your first time on the website, you're not looking for very specific details. You're just going to crawl around and make sure that you can navigate well, and to see if eventually you can get to know us, like us, and trust us enough to do business with us. So that's the idea. But yeah, make it into a game. Create expandable features where people click. Okay. Make it so that it's a carousel where it's as opposed to having 10 images and you have to scroll to see all 10 of them. Maybe you turn it into a carousel where you have an arrow and you click and it shows you the next one and the next one, the next one, the next one. Turn it into a game. Gamify your website as often as you can, if you can. Okay. That way the user will stay longer, because Google, once they get on your website, you do not want them to hit that back button right immediately. That's called a bounce. So bounce rates matter for Google. You want them to stay on your website for as long as possible. Also, have links within your website to other sections of your website. A lot of marketers will talk about how having links to your website is so important, but what they don't tell you is that internal linking within your website, for every 3 internal links, that has the value of 1 external link. Now, how much value relative to the authoritative domain that those links, external links, are coming from, that's a whole different animal. But let's talk about the 3-to-1 ratio. It's great. So within the website, so this page is linked to it 142 times within the website. This cap nail 1-inch bulk order is linked 135 times. People just want some form of clarity and transparency on something having to do with pricing. This is going to infuriate many of you guys, but I do suggest that you guys start putting either, if not prices, price ranges for the services that you provide. If it's roof installation, then put a price range. I know you're going to think that you're going to leave money on the table, but eventually you're going to have to make a decision. Look, we are now in the internet age, knee deep in the information age. And you need to start thinking about how the way that business has been conducted in the past is not necessarily the exact same way in which it's going to be conducted in the future. Being more transparent on pricing. Now, hopefully on your services, right? But if anything, display prices or price ranges any opportunity you get. The money that you're thinking you're leaving on the table can be made up by the added volume that you're going to get, because a lot of people think that way. So if you're the only one, or one of the few people or companies that are actually displaying prices or price ranges, you're going to get a lot more traffic, because people are searching for questions that begin with how much. And so Google will make your website the answer to those questions, and so you'll get a lot more traffic and eventually more sales. Become a resource of information to the customers and to the people that are out there looking for roofing companies on the internet. Be more informative. By combining this idea of being a resource and also combining prices, maybe you can discuss the cost of permitting for your area. Maybe you can discuss or the arbitrage between debris disposal costs in this city or this county versus that other place. And these are just things to talk about. Look, the more you talk about, and it's not just roofing, it's again the cost of debris disposal. It's a topic that is related to roofing, and all that's going to do is expand the amount of keywords that you rank for. It's all in how you put it together and you can make it relevant. The cost of certain inspections. Here's another one. Cities, counties, government websites, they have forms, or even manufacturers, they have forms that customers can download. Why don't you make your website the resource and make those forms available to your customers on your website so that they can download them from you, and you give them another reason for them to stay on your website. Turn all those clicks that are happening somewhere else and make them happen and occur in your website. Because if you take anything from today's conversation, is that if Google didn't see it, hear it, or know about it, then it never happened. So your website, make it searchable on Google, make the code easily understandable by Google so that you can go up in rankings. That's the only reason to have a website. So that your website, not your competitors, can be the absolute best answer to the questions that are being asked on Google. Have a good day.